Chapter 132. The ancient beast sneered, "Oh, so that's how it is? Working with humans for such a hollow reason?" Then, he laughed like a madman. His laughter of a truly bizarre jester made one's skin crawl. He laughed and stomped on the ground, as if he had just heard the most ridiculous thing in the world. He continued, "You are too arrogant. You use that reason, so you are the one who is too arrogant." At this point, the divine tree just silently observed, with nothing more to present, because what he said was somewhat correct, but at least, the divine tree, though arrogant, still had decency and tolerance, unlike this ancient beast, who just wanted to destroy all other species. Australis screamed in madness, "I will make you regret for attacking me with such a damn foolish attitude." A huge purple spiritual ball appeared above his head, frantically charging spiritual power, spinning and expanding crazily. In a blink of an eye, it became a huge ball, dozens of times larger than the divine tree. The entire space was enveloped by this dense and deadly aura. Spiritual power and air were continuously compressed into the ball. The sound of chaotic energy colliding with each other created a terrifying screech. On the other side of the city, the nine-tailed fox could see clearly, because this spiritual power block was too large, and the feeling of death made her horrified. "Damn, this is really a destructive blow." Nine Tails immediately turned back to urge everyone to hurry up. In the dense spiritual wind, Xiaoling stood tensely on a high wall, gritting her teeth and watching anxiously. She uttered two words, "My master." This attack completely carried the deadly smell of that ancient beast, and she really didn't know what would happen to the master. Of course, whether humanity would be destroyed or not has never been a problem for Xiaoling. The only person she cares about is the master. The TV station's helicopter was trying to keep a distance from the combat area, where the purple energy ball was expanding massively. The challenge for them was to stay far enough away to avoid being burned by the heat wave, but also close enough for these precious films to be broadcast to people all over the world. In the helicopter, the reporter's voice was still loud. "Can you see? A huge purple light ball. Even though we are very far away, we can still feel the terrifying heat it emits. If we get closer, we might melt." Meanwhile, the purple ball was still growing. The vortex of the ball's core created extremely hot waves, spreading to a radius of tens of kilometers around. People all over the world were holding their breath watching through the TV screen. The reporter's voice still echoed, "The battle seems to be about to end. Who will the victory lean towards? Will humanity be completely destroyed? Or will we continue to survive? All depends on the result of this attack." Indeed, a boy on a distant plateau was also listening to the radio about this battle. He was also worried whether this beautiful grassland would still exist tomorrow. The panda, with a body full of wounds, was closer, completely unable to observe the divine tree's place with his eyes. He used his hand to cover his eyes, uttered the name divine tree. The aura was too terrifying, even knowing that the divine tree was domineering. Even the faith in the divine tree was absolute, but he could not stop his heart in his chest from beating wildly in worry. The ancient beast with one severed arm was transmitting his spiritual power to the destructive ball. Had to admit that this man had a spiritual power source as vast as the sea. But with this attack, he really had put all his remaining spiritual power, determined to live and die with the divine tree. Even if it meant death, he would also pull all humanity with him. It was just spiteful. But why didn't the divine tree attack the beast when he was charging energy for this ball? Impossible. Because Australith was not a chicken, he of course had to prepare for that situation. The divine tree might be counterattacked. Secondly, attacking when he was accumulating energy would only make the ball explode immediately, no matter what size. From the beginning, this ball was at the level of destruction. Australith roared, "This is the final blow. I will let you and your damn attitude turn into dust." Pooh! The sound of the huge ball being thrown. The divine tree with determined eyes. At any cost, he had to stop this final blow, otherwise, all previous sacrifices and efforts would be meaningless. In just a blink of an eye, the ball had rushed to the front of the divine tree. He used one hand to thrust straight into the ball. The energy conflict caused countless bright yellow energy rays to shoot out, accompanied by a piercing screech. The ball was still spinning non-stop, wanting to crush everything it touched. Australith saw this scene, laughed contemptuously, as if watching an ant fight with an elephant. Death was unquestionable. At this moment, the huge hand of the divine tree was trying to hold back the ball, but this mad ball had a terrifying vortex. heating up his hand. His fingers were also glowing red. It seemed that it could not be controlled anymore. But what was more dangerous was that the regeneration speed of the divine tree could not keep up with the destruction speed of this ball. Damn it! The reporter from above shouted, "The mutant tree is blocking the ball." While people everywhere began to cheer extremely enthusiastically, "Come on, don't lose, we always support you, come on, push it back." On the screen, the huge and fierce divine tree became small in front of that destructive ball. Struggling to stop the deadly ball, every second passed, people were immersed in endless worry and suspense. Xiao Ling was also extremely anxious, constantly calling the master's name. Tian Kam and Qin Kang also shrank their hearts and stood still watching anxiously. The whole night sky was only a deep purple. 10 years later, no, a few seconds later, the divine tree was still holding back this destructive ball, not letting it advance. Austerlith began to feel anxious. The smile had faded. It was really not good at all. He grumbled in anger. Damn, why is he still standing like that? Why can't I defeat him? Boom! The sound of the ground shattering echoed. The divine tree was preparing to do something. Making Austerlith stunned, instinctively he put his hand forward, as if to say, "EY bro, let's talk slowly." The divine tree had gone mad. He shouted, "Die? Not yet, we will not only not die, but also defeat you, and continue to live well." As soon as the divine tree said this, it made the ancient beast's eyes shrink in fear. Like this but still claimed to defeat me? He really didn't know what to call someone who was arrogant but so strong. Then the divine tree roared, using all his strength and his whole body to resist the destructive ball. Boom! But the ball got even bigger? Did the divine tree use all his spiritual power to neutralize the energy of this destructive ball? A thick cloud of dust covered the space. The destructive ball was gone, and the divine tree also disappeared. The ancient beast could no longer feel the aura of the divine tree. Has he really turned into dust? Thinking of this, Austerlith was overjoyed like a madman, opened his mouth and laughed loudly. Ha 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 ha, finally got rid of you, finally people also. But before he finished speaking, the familiar face of the divine tree was right above him, even though he couldn't see it. But Austerlith could feel it. It really haunted Austerlith to old age. This strong aura was still not dissipated, even stronger, as if not hurt at all. The ancient beast was hit by another big shock, one shock after another, but he knew this was the biggest shock, which made him fall into deep depression. His eyes were dull like a fool. Too boring. Austerlith looked up. Indeed, it was the divine tree. The divine tree just waited like that, shouted loudly, "It's my turn, son!" The ultimate skill to pause time was activated. The destructive ball was still there, along with Austerlith, and all the matter in space had completely stopped. 9 roots attacked with full force, which were 9 dragons harder than steel, simultaneously punched straight into Austerlith at close range. At this moment the ancient beast was completely a sandbag, without any chance of self-defense. 9 roots hit from multiple sides to keep Austerlith's body from moving. Yes, needed to keep him straight to punch more, and a continuous punch was launched, thousands of punches. The divine tree roared, enthusiastically punching in passion. Nothing more enjoyable than punching into this freak. He had no armor left on his body. Even after using time freeze, spiritual power was almost exhausted, but each punch now caused terrifying damage, because it punched straight into Austerlith's soft flesh. Austerlith was punched up like a rag. And this is the last hit, a huge crystallized hand with a bright yellow color, but it was shiny and hard as diamond. It was the combo of crystallization plus the enlargement of a root. The divine tree shouted, "Everything is over. Son, this is the last hit." Wonderful! The panda had been watching this finishing scene all afternoon, even holding back from going to the toilet. Finally got to see it. The divine tree roared, all the strength was put into this punch. Win! The destructive punch hit the target lying still on the ground. System announcement: the target has ended its life. Dust and broken ground from that punch were still falling. Look at this. Austerlith was really beaten into a pile of shit. The broken arm was constantly twitching the last few times. The divine tree squinted down. Austerlith had completely faded. The divine tree began to get excited and shouted, "The 9th, we have won this battle. We have won. We can go home now." The voice of the divine tree echoed like thunder, still hard to hear, but at this moment it was like the bell of a church, so peaceful and happy. The melody of the song Home by BB Rexa and Machine Gun Kelly echoed again in Chizi's heart, in Xiaoling's heart, and in everyone's heart of Misty Mountain. The divine tree looked east, the sun had risen, so a new dawn had begun, a new dawn for all mankind and all living creatures on earth. End of chapter 132.